NASCAR silly season just took an interesting turn, and now NASCAR says they won't sell the charters previously owned by 2311 and Front Row. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove, presented by Tableau TV. Hope you enjoyed the long weekend. We have so much NASCAR news and rumors to recap. Also, at the end of this episode, my weekly Cup Series power rankings. Stay tuned. But first, man, it's finally starting to feel like fall. My favorite season of the year. The calendar has flipped to September. Before we know it, it'll be Halloween. Halloween may already be here because I'm seeing ghosts. The Gray Ghost. Carson Hocevar has made yet another retro NASCAR purchase. First the Dale truck, or the Mike Skinner truck, if we want to be more historically accurate. And now this! Hocevar's a Facebook marketplace menace. These photos he's sharing, though, aesthetic as hell. Quite the car collection for young Carson Hocevar. Now to some news. IndyCar silly season has stolen the headlines today, with Will Power and Team Penske officially going their separate ways. But there are some updates from the NASCAR world that we need to catch up on. Jordan Bianchi, writing for The Athletic, originally reported months ago that Justin Haley's seat at Spire is hot. He followed that report up this past weekend, again confirming Justin Haley is on the hot seat. Didn't rule out a potential Justin Haley Spire 2026 continuation, but mentioned two possible candidates who could take that number 7 seat: Daniel Suarez and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Suarez has been rumored for a while, but the Ricky Stenhouse mention is new. Now, Stenhouse tried to quiet these rumors on SiriusXM NASCAR radio this week. He told Pete Pistone, quote, "We redid my contract last year with Hayek Motorsports, so I'm here through 2026 unless they tell me otherwise." Ricky Stenhouse and Hayek Motorsports, formerly JTG, have been together now 6-7 years. They've won multiple races. They've won the Daytona 500 together. They've been loyal partners, but money talks. If someone with a big check comes along looking at that 47 car, maybe Hayek would release Stenhouse, especially if Stenhouse has an opportunity with Spire. I don't know that Spire is that much better than Hayek right now. I think they're a little better for sure, but I think the ceiling is much higher at Spire. We've seen glimpses of what Hocevar, McDowell are capable of this year. So if Stenhouse has an opportunity legitimately to go to Spire Motorsports, veteran driver, this may be his shot to go contend on a regular basis. But putting the Ricky Stenhouse discussion to the side, because that transaction would be complicated. There would be contract buyouts or releases, etc. The Daniel Suarez to Spire rumors continue to heat up. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not convinced Daniel Suarez is a clear talent upgrade over Justin Haley, but he is undeniably a brand upgrade, if you will. Big personality, probably brings some sponsors, some recognizable sponsors. He's a more recognizable name. Let's be honest, NASCAR is at least partially in the entertainment business. Any major sport that brings in billions of dollars worth of revenue that's broadcast on TV, is in the entertainment business to some degree. I love Justin Haley, but he's part of that group of drivers in the back of the field that we often forget about. We don't really notice Justin Haley unless he's caught up in a wreck. We don't really notice Cody Ware or Cole Custer or Todd Gilliland or Riley Herbst. He's part of that group of drivers that unfortunately get overlooked. They don't stand out. Say what you will about Daniel Suarez. We've been talking about him all year. Mexico City race, home country, wins the Xfinity event, his contract status with Trackhouse. We've talked Daniel Suarez quite a bit on this show. We haven't talked much about Justin Haley, at least not until these reports from The Athletic popped up about his future. But what did I say a minute ago? Money makes decisions. If Suarez has more money behind him than Justin Haley does, I wouldn't blame Spire for making that move. Again, I think talent-wise, they're comparable. Look at the points this year. Suarez is 27th, Haley is 30th, but I think we maybe could argue Suarez is in a little better situation. I mean, Trackhouse has 2 cars in the playoffs, Spire has none, so Trackhouse probably a little better situation. And I've talked about Justin Haley's roller coaster year. First year back with Spire, Rodney Childers on the box, then 9 weeks into the year, he's gone. Car chief, gone. Pit crew, swapped out. So much turnover on that 7 car the past 12 months, I'm not sure Justin Haley's truly had a fair shot at Spire this year. I hope if Justin Haley stays at Spire, he shows up next year, shows out every Sunday. But if Spire makes a move to a Suarez or even a Stenhouse could be interesting because I think from a talent perspective, the raw ability actually maybe advantage Stenhouse. I know Ricky Spinhouse, he has that unfortunate nickname from years ago, but I think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the right situation could really contend. I mean, remember, the guy's a two-time Xfinity Series champion. Back when the Xfinity Series champion, I think, had a little steeper competition week to week. 3 very interesting, very different choices, a lot of variables. It will be fascinating to follow Aspire Motorsports' thought process over the next few months. Power rankings coming up in just a few minutes, but we need to put a quick pause on the racing discussion to update the legal battle between 2311 Front Row and NASCAR. We talked about it last week. The teams and NASCAR sparred in court during a hearing, traded blows back and forth. Unsavory text messages were released to the public. The teams, 2311 and Front Row Motorsports, are fighting again for an injunction that would regain them charter status for the remainder of this season, but more importantly, would prevent NASCAR from selling the 6 total charters in question until the case can be resolved. NASCAR, of course, has pushed back and said, hey, the teams don't own those charters anymore. The moment they didn't sign the charter agreement, they waived those rights. We can do with them what we want. Well, in a recent filing this past weekend, it seems like NASCAR maybe is trying to meet the teams somewhere in the middle. In a filing, they said, quote, NASCAR represents that, without court approval, it will not effectuate a sale, conveyance, or lease of either of the 2 inactive charters, which were previously held by Stewart-Haas Racing, and NASCAR represents it will not issue, sell, convey, or lease more than 4 additional charters for the 2026 Cup season. The wording on that is extremely interesting. I read one report from the Associated Press that translated that to mean they will not sell the 4 charters previously owned by 2311 and Front Row that have been in question. And the wording there, will not sell or transfer more than 4 additional charters makes me wonder if NASCAR is talking about charters 37 through 40. See, the NASCAR charter system, since its creation in 2016, has 36 charters, but there are actually 40. There are 4 charters that NASCAR has set aside. Many have speculated that is for if and when a new manufacturer joins. Think about it. Joe Gibbs Racing, Hendrick Penske, back in 2016, they were just given charters. So NASCAR said, hey, if a new OEM, a new team joins with a new manufacturer, we have these 4 charters set aside that we could, if we want to, we could activate and give them to this new manufacturer. If you read this statement again, this filing, the wording of 4 additional charters, does that mean they could still sell some of the questionable charters that previously were owned by 2311 Front Row, or are they talking about just selling or transferring charters 37 through 40, leaving those 2311, those Front Row, those disputed charters aside for the time being? The wording is interesting, but clearly NASCAR believes this change renders the team's injunction arguments, their worries of irreparable harm, renders those claims irrelevant. NASCAR is hoping that by making this change, the teams lose their injunction request, and NASCAR can begin planning more closely for 2026 with the supposedly other interested teams that are looking to purchase or acquire a charter somehow, some way. The wording is interesting. Again, I've seen reports that say, no, this means they will not sell any of those 6 charters in question, but other reports are less clear. Judge Kenneth Bell is expected to rule on this latest injunction request this week in the coming days, so we'll all wait and see. But just wanted to provide that quick update. Remember, the teams have said that if one of those charters they used to own gets sold or transferred to a different organization, then 2311 and Front Row will go out of business at year's end. That's what the teams have said, at least. We'll see where this goes here in the next few days. But now it's time to talk power rankings. Toyota showed up and showed out in the Southern 500 Sunday night. Let's see if that impacted my top 10 Cup Series teams and drivers this week. Starting at number 10, it was a great night for Toyota. It was an unmitigated disaster for driver 48, Alex Bowman. Qualified bad, ran bad, pit road was bad, finished bad. But I'm keeping Bowman in the top 10 because it wasn't that long ago that Alex Bowman was finishing top 10, running top 10 every single week. So he's hanging on to the top 10 spot for now, but another lackluster performance and he'll have to go. Another lackluster performance and he may be eliminated from the NASCAR playoffs altogether. I've got his teammate Chase Elliott at 9 to match his car number. After a red-hot summer stretch that included that win at Atlanta, Chase Elliott is back to just kinda sorta being there. One top 10 finish the last 6 weeks. The speed doesn't seem all that great. He's qualified 20th or worse in 3 of the last 4 races. Not sure what to make of Chase Elliott right now. He comes in at 9. Welcome back to the top 10, Ross Chastain at 8. Not lighting the world on fire, but a solid 13th place average finish the past 5 weeks. He earned 12 stage points at Darlington and probably would have finished around 7th place if the team had gotten the car full of fuel at the end. The speed in that car has been inconsistent this year, but if they can keep averaging a 13th place finish, they'll get through this first round, maybe even make some noise in the second. Another Chevrolet at 7, this one, Kyle Larson. He ran okay at Darlington, but the finish won't show it. He ends up 19th. That's actually the worst Southern 500 finish of Kyle Larson's more than 10-year career. The 5 team has just been so inconsistent lately. Ever since their win way back in May at Kansas, they have a 17.4 average finish. A lot of top 5s mixed in with finishes outside the top 30. Inconsistency is fine in the playoffs if you're able to win, like Joey Logano was last year and like Kyle Larson typically is. But we haven't seen winning speed in quite some time. I'm dropping Larson to 7. Denny Hamlin at 6. And look, I wanted to move Denny Hamlin up, but his 2311 Toyota teammates just outran him Sunday night, so I had to move them further. Denny Hamlin had a good night at Darlington. He won the pole, obviously, led some laps, overcame an issue on pit road to still finish a solid 7th. A good start to the playoffs for Denny Hamlin, but like I said, the 2311 guys were just a little better. So coming in at number 5, Tyler Reddick, big mover this week. I would have moved him up even further, but he has been up and down, bit inconsistent this summer. Recently though, this team seems to have found something. 2 of the last 3 weeks, they've been lights out. At Richmond, remember, Reddick led a ton of laps, maybe wins that race, at least runs top 3 when he got wrecked during a pit stop sequence, not his fault. And then Darlington, obviously, Sunday night was the second best guy to chase Briscoe literally the entire night, earned 18 stage points. So Tyler Reddick, maybe these are just great tracks for him. We'll see if this speed sticks around. But right now, I really like the performance out of that Toyota. At 4, sticking with his teammate, Bubba Wallace. 5 top 10s the last 7 races. He's led laps in 5 of the last 7 races, including 123 laps led at Richmond. Bubba Wallace's night kind of mirrors Denny Hamlin's. Both of them were fast early, ran up near the front, then they had issues on pit road, lost track position, and grinded their way to top 10 finishes. Wallace finished 6th, Hamlin finished 7th, giving Bubba Wallace the edge this week. Been really sharp the past month or so. I'm keeping my top 3 the same, but once again, I'm shuffling around the order. I've dropped William Byron to 3. Look, his last 3 finishes are not great. 12th, 19th, 21st. That's not amazing. But you have to remember, right before that, Byron had a bunch of top 5s. He had that win at Iowa. He won the regular season championship a week early. Byron has been consistent, reliable most of the year, so that's why I'm keeping him high on this list for now. But it looks like Hendrick Motorsports, as a team, is a little off right now. That's why all 4 of their cars, if you look, have moved down at least a couple of spots in my rankings. Hopefully they can figure it out. Hopefully the Southern 500 was a blip. Gateway hasn't always been kind to them in the past, so we'll see if those Chevys can bounce back this Sunday. Ryan Blaney comes in at 2. Hard to kill the guy for what happened on pit road. Got caught up in the Bell Hocevar incident, and then later Blaney got wrecked by Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon. Wrong place, wrong time in both incidents, unfortunately. That snapped a 6-race top 10 streak for Blaney, so I'm not going to kill him in the rankings. I will say, though, that I did not love the speed from any of the Penske cars Sunday night. Gateway is right in their wheelhouse, so hopefully Blaney, Logano, all of them bounce back. Going to be watching those Fords closely. But the obvious choice at number 1 this week, Chase Briscoe. 5th top 5 finish the past 8 races. It's his 2nd win of the summer, if you will. 2nd consecutive Southern 500 victory. This team is firing on all cylinders. They've led multiple laps now in 7 of the last 8 Cup races, swept the stages at Darlington, led over 300 laps. Yeah, this team is dangerous right now. I had them getting to the round of 8, and I still feel great about that prediction, but boy, I'm starting to rethink my championship 4 a bit. I know it's early, long way to go, lot can happen, but I really like how this team has rallied over the course of this summer. There's my top 10. Let me know in the comments if you agree, if you disagree. Is there anyone I overlooked, anyone I rated too highly? Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. That'll do it for today's episode of Out of the Groove. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more NASCAR discussion every single day. And a big thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters as well. Plenty more to come this week. I will talk to you again soon. Have a great rest of your day, folks. Thanks for watching.